Hi guys, this is Chris of Wilson Wildlife Sculpture, and this is what's on the work table today. I'm going to demonstrate how to get some advanced finishes, including dyeing wood bases on this bullfrog. Okay, I've got blue dyes and green dyes and black dyes, and I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to show a piece I really like, a finished piece. So you can see. Stay tuned and see the process, and I'll give you tips of how I've used these dyes for very effective, kind of interesting finishes to make wood darker, colorful, or lighter. Actually, use bleach to make it lighter, and I think I've demonstrated that. But I've demonstrated lots of finishes, including Danish oil, which I actually oiled this oak base. And this was done many, many years ago, maybe 20 years ago. And it just looks so formal and boring. So I carved all these grooves in this base, okay? And I left the finish on the high parts, but this black dye, I've boiled water and added powder. This is Artie uh, Company powdered black wood dye. Okay, I've got blue and black here, and I have it in these different containers. And I mix it. First I boil the water, and I add just a little bit of dye uh, to each jar. Now I have it in different concentrations. I get a high strength. I've got a more mild strength. So some I add more powder, and others I add less. So let me show you an example so you can see what I'm talking about here, and you can stay tuned and watch how I finish this. So here is an interpretive piece. I really like this piece. It's an interpretive peregrine falcon that's life-size and chasing the swallow. I've dyed it black as well as blue, and then I went back with a little pigments, a little white and iridescent blue, and because it was such a dark piece of oak. And this is carved from one piece of wood. Let's see if you can see this okay. Might be a little dark in this light here. I'll try to get some close-ups of it later. But I'm catching the evening light here because it's wintertime and getting a little cold. But this frog, I think it's I don't really like the base right now. It's too light. I added this dogwood branch with the dragonfly, and I think that helps the composition with the negative space a little bit, but I want to make the base darker. So all I use here is disposable brushes. Okay, I talked about how I use the boiling water with the dye. So I've got some disposable brushes and a rag because I'm going to wipe some excess off. And that's really pretty much all you need. I've already kind of sanded and polished the wood, but I'm not going to seal it. I'm going to let the oil soak into the wood, especially where it's carved, all these grooves. So first I'm going to start with what I think is a more mild, not as strong finish. And actually it needs to be much darker. But sometimes it's good to wet the wood first, because you're going to raise the grain a little bit in doing this. Okay, then I'm going to go back and I'm going to add some of the darker oil here so you can see this here. Okay, the fact that I wet it a little bit makes it kind of like a wash coat. Let's see if you can see that okay. Yeah. It's going to take a while here to me to get in the grooves. It's since I have an oil finish, Danish oil finish, it's not really soaking in the wood as much as I like. And I want to get it darker, so I may have wanted to sand a little bit more, which I didn't do. But okay, in grain you can see it's really soaking in. And that's what I want. I want that contrast. I don't, however, want it on my froggy. So if I get it on the froggy, I'm just going to wipe off a little bit. I can always go back and paint some touch-ups on it, but I don't really want to get my froggy black. I will, he needs to be dusted and spoofed up a little bit with some brighter paint. Okay, but look at that contrast. Okay, the base is already coming to life here. It's just what I mean by life. It's just the contrast of relative lightness and darkness of the base. I want the eye to go to the frog. Now I could use blue dye down here, but I actually already have some water. So if you can see on this side, in the front, okay, where the frog's looking, there's a pool of water here. Make sure you can see that okay here. Okay, and here's what I'm doing with the soaking in that grain. Okay, he's all carved in wood, as I carve the dogwood flowers and even this dragonfly. And I'm just carving, I'm just soaking this wood here as much as I can. And here is the falcon, which I'm showing, which I showed before, but I don't think the lighting was as good. So that is with black dye and blue dye, and went back with some dry brush pigments of white pigment and iridescent blue. Okay, it's a carved from one piece. It's a falcon chasing a swallow, and the piece will hang on the wall. Let me put this back up so you can see more the detail, or the process I mean. Just a matter of getting it on all in here. I like to work outside. Nice thing about this water-based dye is that it is not toxic. Okay, even oil-based dyes, finishes I use I don't use toxic materials. Oil paints can be a little toxic, but I painted all this with acrylics. And I'm trying to get the oil on this side. I'll show you some details again. It's just a matter of really kind of putting it on artistically and trying to soak it in certain areas. As I said, it's soaking in. Make a little mistake here, getting it on the frog. Don't want that. I'll have to do some painting touch-ups, but I want the oil to soak in, not the oil, the black dye, just to soak into the parts that have not been oiled. And that is, that's the grooves I cut. I used a carbide cutter and cut those. I think I demonstrate that with a quail on one of my shorts. I used, let's see, what is it called? Anyway, carbide cutters cut very, very quickly and leave a smooth finish. And so I didn't even sand this base. Although if I sanded it, the oil would soak in a little bit more. The fact that it's being repelled is because it has several coats of Danish oil on it. Okay, well, I'm still, the question is, should I make it more blue in there instead of just black? But you know, I could always do a second coat. What you do is you let this Danish oil dry overnight, and the next day it should be dry. The grain will be raised a little bit, and that's when you want to go back and sand some of the highlights. I sand and polish, so it will be lighter. So I do want to actually kind of dark this first coat, especially the bottom of the base, the end grain. And I'm going to turn it so you can see it from all sides here. Not much going around from this side, but I'll try to hurry. No, I don't want to hurry because that's how you make mistakes. And I've got shows coming up, so it's very important to not make the mistakes here. Even watching these videos, I've made mistakes in the past. Even doing this for 40 years, you know, if you're not concentrating fully, you know, I'm doing a video, not quite used to being filmed when I'm working, and, you know, I have made one mistake in one video where I dropped the piece, and that was not fun repairing. it was a life-size heron. You can watch it. It's a lot of sanding tricks I show. Okay, so here you can see back in the front. You can see what I'm doing. I think it's much more interesting with these grooves. It shows some texture. All these grooves kind of look like, I mean, it's very stylized. It's interpretive, but I'm trying to make it look suggesting the ground, the earth. Notice I'm working on just an old piece of plywood because I'm getting the excess on it and making a little bit of a mess here. So I like to doing this kind of work outside, so I don't make too much of a mess. Although I do my painting and my detail work inside, and I use glass. I have glass eyes for the bullfrog, and he's painted with acrylics. Gosh, he needs some dusting here. I need to clean it up. It's not a new piece. I've actually had it for a long time, but now it's a new piece because I am completely redone the composition with the dogwood branch, this new base. And that's how you put life to a new piece. You look at something and you just ask yourself, how could it be better? And I ask other people. In fact, I will ask you guys in my audience, please comment, in the comment section below the YouTube channel, that if you feel like you like to see it blue and not black, or you liked it before better, I do like criticism, constructive criticism, and I receive that all the time with my work. In fact, I ask for it. That's very important for you to do so that you can improve. If you get too much of an ego, then you think your way is the right way. And art is very, very subjective. From my years of experience, people like different styles. And so working full-time for the last 30 years as a professional sculptor and a woodcarver, I've learned to be humble and take criticism and try to learn and improve my work. And so I think that is it's humbleizing, but it's I think important to do if you want to improve. So please let me know also how I can improve these YouTube videos. I've started to merge some different videos together. It's challenging to do with the technology I have, but I can do it with shorts, not necessarily the longs, but I'm getting there. I see what other people are doing, and I'm catching up with speed, even though I'm an ancient dinosaur here. But I'm trying to show lots of techniques here, so you can use these techniques in your work. And I've learned these techniques in art school, as well as just experimenting. Actually, no one showed me how to dye wood. I just learned it myself, and that's the great thing about YouTube now. You really don't have to go to art school. You can learn, but just make sure you're learning from people who have good backgrounds or who are successful. A lot of people are self-taught, and they're very successful. I happen to have the highest degree in my field, a master's degree in sculpture, but that really doesn't mean anything today. It has helped me over the years. Also, being a professor of art for 7 years, teaching art has helped. And I think that's what I want to do with these videos. I want to give back and help others. And I also want to give more personal lessons. And that's how to really improve. I can critique your work, and you can take individual lessons with me. And that's how I started back in the 80s and 90s. And I studied with people one-on-one. Some of the top artists from around the world. Larry Barth was the top bird artist. Carl McCluskey, who's an engineer and has done monuments all around the country. I've learned stone carving, bronze casting, all kinds of art. For animal carving, Jim Wilsford was a great animal carver. He's since passed away. I've learned figure carving from Vic Hood. numerous others. Just too many, too many to remember a name. I do have a lot of that stuff on my website, and also about learning from me. I have something on the website you can check out if you're interested. So it turns out I'm going pretty much with the dark, the black. I like it black, and I know it's going to be a little bit lighter when it dries. And I'm going back with a second coat to make sure I get in all these little grooves. I'll show you the details here in a second. I'm trying to get underneath the sculpture. That's cool. I just heard a red-tailed hawk. Nice. It's warm enough to work outside today in the evening, and it's February. And if you watched my videos before, I work out of my house. I have videos in my shop using my dust collection system. But on a nice day, even in the wintertime, I like to get outside here and work outside. So, okay, so let's take a look at that. You can see the details. I'll give you some close-ups and tell me if you think you'd like to see some blue pigment on it. In fact, I might just go ahead and put some blue over the black. Usually I would wait for it to dry, but I think it really pops with more contrast now. So take a look at that. See the interesting grooves there. There's Froggy. I could have had blue in the water. I know cast resin bases are really popular now. I don't like using chemicals that much. It's kind of more of a realistic pool of water. And then there's the dragonfly, a blue darter, and a dogwood branch. And there's a vine wrapping around here. So I think I will hit a little bit of blue in the base, just because it's analogous with green, and I think it'll look cool. So yeah, let me do that real quick here, and let's see how it goes over the black. This is kind of an experiment. I've never done this before. I usually wait for it to dry, but I want it to penetrate in there. And if it doesn't work, I can wipe it off. This is what makes it art and fun. Got to experiment. Now this is a pretty saturated blue. I'm gonna put it first on an inconspicuous spot, maybe. Let's see, maybe over here a little bit. Oh, you can hardly see the difference because since I put the black dye down first, you can't even see it's blue. It's actually turning it kind of a greenish turquoise, which that's fine. Water can be all different colors. Even though it's a blue dye, going over wood that's a different color, like oak, it's not going to make it really bright. You're just going to get a tint of color. You'd have to go over a light wood to make it bright blue, and I've done that before. And actually I lightened up this piece here so you can see the blue. Like I added some pigment there, just some white gesso. I think I also used some acrylic pigment as well. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of blue. It's not really doing much like I thought it might do, but maybe it dries, it might. But stay tuned here. I will show the details one more time. In fact, I think it's about done here. Let me just show you the final wrap here. What this blue looked like. Oh, and I don't think I showed you that the dogwood branch comes apart. Okay, so this is nice to be able to transport the piece. I have square tubing here, and I show how I defy gravity in my sculptures and how they come apart, so I can pack and ship the pieces in another video. So just finishing up here. I appreciate your support, all your likes and comments and suggestions, and also, yeah, please subscribe to my channel. That way I can create better content, and as my channel grows, I want to give more and more information and show you my secrets to success. Really not secrets, they're just what's been effective for me all these years. So thanks a lot for following me. One more time, I'll show you the close-ups of this piece. And when that blue did, it actually turned a little bit green. I like it, rather than just black. Okay. I may have missed some spots underneath the piece. What I could do is put a blue pool of water cast over this. I made a little red insect though. That might be too submerged. Okay, well that's that. There's that interpretive piece here. Since I got better lighting, I can show you. Thanks again for liking my video, watching, and subscribing to my channel. Hope you have a great day, and thanks again.